Welcome to the Building Doors Podcast, where we're not just pushing for opportunities for women's voices to be heard, we're creating them. I'm Christy Harst, voiceover actor and creator of the Building Doors campaign. Join us as we amplify voices, break barriers, and build doors together.
Hi, I'm Dianne Weller, and I'm a door builder in the Building Doors campaign. I actually started my voiceover journey in acting school. I was doing acting school in Sydney, and we had a coach coming out because we had to do voice every day. It was a 3-year degree, and part of the components were acting, production, voice, movement, and so on. And at one point we did a whole semester on voiceover, and I was loving it, actually. I thought it was really interesting. And being a singer as well, it made a lot of sense because of the rhythm, the timing, the way that you look at the musicality with how you actually deliver the messages. So that to me was something really interesting from the go-get, but I didn't really pursue it when I graduated from drama school because I stayed in the country in Australia not very long, and then I moved to the UK. And when I was working in the UK, I actually landed my first voiceover job because I was working in television. I was working for the BBC and ITV, and I ended up getting asked to do a job after I had made my reel working for the radio drama department of the BBC. And I really, really loved the way that actors were given an opportunity to work in audio drama and be able to act all those incredible parts. And that was such a discovery. So I very quickly did my voiceover reel at the BBC's radio drama department. And then I tried to get some work. So I landed my first ad for Sony in England, but I'd met my then-to-be husband shortly afterwards in Belgium, and I moved to Belgium. And when I got there, I actually got a job through my husband's partner. He had a production company and suggested me for a role for a Nokia ad playing Hyacinth Bouquet, who had a show called Keeping Up Appearances in Britain. And they wanted a voiceover who could play a role like that for this Nokia campaign. And I was like, oh, that's exciting because I love to play characters. So I went for this job and I got it. And the engineer who was in the booth with me suggested me to loads and loads of other studios. So it was very lucky for me to get that job with Mark, the wonderful sound engineer, who then really helped push my career forward with the other studios that were in Belgium. And I think that was really the first beginning of thinking about there's so much opportunity in voiceover to do so many different things, roles, but also, commercials, corporate videos, explainer, e-learning, ADR, IVR, many, many different facets of the voiceover industry. Relying on your talents and skills that I had as an actor, I was able to put into voiceover and voiceover acting. And because I was also training people in voice and singing, I found the holistic ideal of working in this industry, just incredible. I've always been acting since I was little. I wanted to go to drama school when I was very young. I didn't get a chance at that point. I was told to go out and live a bit of life because I was only 17. And then I had to do various day jobs to get me by, and I very quickly realised that was definitely not for me. So I went back into opera singing. So I was doing classical singing. And from there, I landed a really wonderful film role on a big Australian film with very famous people like Nicole Kidman and Naomi Watts on it. And then realised, I really want to get back to acting as well. So I spent that time retraining myself, doing singing, doing gigs, and also training myself to go back to the audition process of drama school. I was hankering to actually go back to the acting world. And when you're acting, you can be acting, but you can also be a voiceover, which is great because you have a couple of strings to your bow, which you kind of need to have when you are an actor. And also, I really didn't like what I was doing in my day jobs. They weren't for me. They were, you don't even want to know. I think even though I've been singing and acting, I think voiceover is a complementary part of my career path because I do various different things and they all inform each other. So I've been very, very fortunate to be able to be employed in those 3 different areas. And I think probably the most favourite for me is voice acting because I just love the ease of it. I can be in my studio. I don't even need to wear makeup if I don't want to. I don't have to worry about sometimes having somebody direct me. They rely on me directing myself, which is also wonderful because then I can get on with my day and do my work and have the confidence that other people have confidence in me. I kind of think this Nokia job, the break I got from that, was one of the most defining moments in my life when I went, oh, okay, I can be a voice actor and I can actually make a career of that. And then there was a number of breaks in my career that led me to keep going and also obtaining agents from around the globe. So I'd been voice acting for about probably 10 years, more so in my local market, not really thinking about branching out. And then one of my VO buddies found the voiceover network in the UK. So we went together and it was just fantastic to actually be meeting other voiceovers who were also, top of their field and be able to really work on developing your skills with loads of workshops and conferences and finding other people and friends and colleagues that you can rely on. And then getting agents. I think getting an agent in the UK was a big deal for me. That was massive. And from there, all the friends, the people that I've met, the workshop leaders that I've become friends with and colleagues with, it's just been so rich for me. And then, of course, going to VO Atlanta and then again, the same experience of meeting amazing people, developing my network, meeting Christy Haast, who's been the pinnacle of this amazing campaign and creator of this amazing campaign, was just an incredible moment. And all of those moments are just constantly pushing you along. When I was nominated for my first SOVAS award, I was blown away. I had absolutely no expectation. And I remember being in my living room when they announced it, and it was kind of like pinch me twice moment, Well, I've got a kind of weird, ironic career. So I specialize in particular kinds of genres, ironically, because I never really use my native voice. I have been living abroad, and so most of the accents I would be doing VO in would be either US or they would be UK. And so all this international transatlantic accent. So I would do things like luxury brands like Chanel or automotive ads, hotels. I've done coffee, lots of coffee and also lots of chocolate because I've been living in Belgium, of course. And I actually really like doing those kinds of jobs. Did a massive campaign for Samsonite, which was also using that kind of international British sound. And I really do enjoy working in the genre because, hey, I kind of like the nicest side of life. I would love to be able to go to some of those hotels that I've done and maybe drive some of those cars. But I've definitely eaten the chocolate, that's for sure. So my dream clients or brands that I'd love to voice, I work for Chanel. I've done Mercedes. I've also worked for other luxury items, and I would love to work for some other luxury items like Louis Vuitton. I'm French speaking, so that makes sense. Hermès, Dior, Gucci, and actually because of their high-end craftsmanship, which is second to none, but also for BMW, Audi, Lexus, Land Rover, even Hyundai, Kia. But I own a Honda, and that's my favourite car I've ever had. But I wouldn't mind voicing a campaign for them too. I also pride myself on my commitment and my craftsmanship to what I do with voiceover because I have trained a lot. I think all that training has been really beneficial for me to be able to keep my work to a certain standard in the major competition market that there is out there around the globe. Well, if I could be the voice of any major campaign, what would it be and why? Whiskey, because I nearly had one, but I lost it. My agent in the UK sent me a brief of an audition, and I just happened to be at Gamescom in Cologne because I work in the video game industry as a voiceover artist, and I went there to do some networking and meeting people and seeing what it's like because it was my first time. And I got this brief in from my agent in the UK, and they wanted a Tilda Swinton sound. So I listened to Tilda Swinton, and then I kind of replicated her voice by delivering the text in the way that I wanted to present it, and then walked out the door, completely forgot about it, thinking, well, I'll never get that job. And then I got an email back saying they want you to do a second audition. And I was like, what? They said, yeah, it's between you and another voice. I was like, no way. And I found out that it was actually between me and a male voice, not another female. So I was thinking, well, it's going to be between whether they want a girl or a boy. And this is a little bit reflective of building doors, right? Because, of course, they gave it to the guy. Well, why would my voice be perfect for these kinds of ads? I think because I have an authoritative kind of quality, but that's also relatable and trustworthy. And there's an elegance to it, especially when I'm doing it in whichever accents. It's got to do with knowing, I think, a little bit about who I'm speaking to and knowing a little bit about the imagery that you have behind these kinds of ads. It all makes sense. When you see the image, you hear the music, that helps a lot. I think music is really important for voiceovers, to be able to click into a character or click into a voice. I really rely on that because I'm a musician, so it really helps me get into the vibe. And I think it's also got to do with, because I'm a voice specialist, like I teach voice as well, I'm able to really click into what kind of placement the sound needs, in terms of how much breath control you might have, in terms of how legato you might want the sound, just the kind of tones that you might reflect in what you're presenting to the client. I think that's also reflecting in how do you bring a script to life? It's the same thing. But one thing that's really important that I was told a while ago, thinking about who your audience is and really creating a demographic, a character of who you're going to be addressing is vital. Create that image in your mind so that when you're saying that text, you're really speaking to someone. I've had really amazing feedback from people confirming that I was the right voice for various different things. I'm the voice for ING Belgium, but I was actually employed to create a live animated character for their company conference with over 5,000 delegates. And this character was on stage that would interact with the people on stage. And that was really fun because it was something that actually I'd never done before. And I really loved to be creating this character from a very flat screen so that it had a 3-dimension to it. The people who booked me, the ING, lovely clients of mine, they really enjoyed that. I also did an incredibly great, fun job with Lionsgate Film. They were doing an exhibition in Las Vegas of the Hunger Games, and I had to create a voice for the main character of that exhibition. So that was just awesome, and they obviously loved that too, they said. So those two things were amazing and they really stand out in my mind. Something that's really unique about me that influences my VO style, I think I've mentioned that already in terms of, being a musician, having an acting background, and also just being very versatile. And I've had to be very versatile in terms of the kinds of jobs that I've actually done. A fun fact that people might not expect. So although I've done a lot of high-end brands, I'm just a beach chick from the coast in Australia, and I've had to really change the way I speak because of living abroad. And so if I really used my native Australian accent from my hometown, people probably wouldn't even realise that it was me. Very Aussie bogan. If my voice were a brand, what would it be known for? Unwavering quality, always delivering insightful, articulate, high-caliber work, timeless elegance, a refined, sophisticated presence that stands out with clarity and depth. Resilience and adaptability is something that I also put down because, been doing this for a long time. Consistently reliable, always turning up, always there. Evolving with the conversation and maintaining your integrity, that's very important to me. Empowering and inspiring. Thank you so much for checking out my Building Doors podcast episode and for your support of the campaign. If you'd like to work together, you can email me at dianneweller1@gmail.com, and I'll spell that because there's a lot of doubles in there. It's DIANNEWELLER1@gmail.com. And you can visit my website, which is my name, DianneWeller.com. So DianneWeller.com is my website. Thank you so much for listening to me. I'm hoping that you'll listen to all the rest of these amazing door builders who are going to be sharing their stories with you.
Thanks for listening to the Building Doors podcast. Want to hear more? Check out all our episodes at buildingdoorsvo.com/podcast and follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Building Doors VO. We'd love to hear from you. So call us on our 24/7 hotline at 216-307-1917 and leave us a voicemail with your thoughts. Do you want to support the podcast? Well, we love coffee. Buy us a cup through the link in the description or at buildingdoorsvo.com. Until next time, keep pushing forward, keep speaking up, and let's keep building doors together.